and welcome. Today we have a very special guest joining us on the show. She started as CEO with a soul. I'm talking about none other than the very beautiful, intelligent, successful Dipali Goenka of Welspun Living. Thank you, Dipali, for joining us today. Dipali, I'm going to start with the usual, right? I want you to go back in time. You've been at the helm of Welspun for over 2 decades. But from what I hear and what I read, you didn't always start off as an entrepreneur. You were a homemaker. Was it a eureka moment that happened? Was it something you dwelled upon for many years? Was it your mother? Was it your husband? Or was it just you?
I started working when my girls were 10 and 7. And I was a homemaker before that. Yes, you're right on that. The thing that actually led me to do that was that a couple of things. One is that, coming in from a patriarchal Marwari community, I really wanted to set an example for my daughters. And that's where I wanted to really take that on. And as a human being, as an individual, I continue to evolve and I want to evolve constantly and constantly learn. I think that's where it also was the curiosity that got me to get into this. So yeah, that's where it is. And here I am today.
It's been a long and commendable journey, but I still want to dwell a little bit more upon what do you think happened, right? It's not as if the kids got older, you wanted to set an example and you're like, hey, I'm going to go and join my husband. It clearly wasn't that. Your DNA, you're probably made of something else. Was it your mom? Do you think you attribute a little bit of that success to your upbringing in some sense?
So I'm inspired totally by my mom because she used to work then as well and coming in from a conservative community as well. But she used to work and that actually inspired me. And that has always been my inspiration. And more so, I think for me, it wasn't that one fine day I just joined in the business. It never was. It was made clear to me that if you come in as an employee of Welspun, and you need to do what needs to be, what everybody else does in the way and the kind of protocols that are there. So yes, I didn't come in as the wife of the chairman of the group at all. And that wasn't the way I have been, actually. I started with my brand Spaces in 2003, understood the kind of buying behavior of the consumers and learned the whole patterns in India. And gradually, as I was doing this, comes 2009 and 10 is the time I've been told that yes, you can join. You need to join the Welspun Textile Group, but that wasn't a bed of roses either because this has been a very dominant, clearly male-dominant industry. Very few women, I think, in the leadership position. And there were a lot of doubts that is Welspun even serious about, doing business in textiles. And I think, and that's where it gave me more resolve and a determination to do what I could do.
It's interesting because it's either you're a homemaker or an entrepreneur or a businesswoman. You must have done both because at 10 and 7, your girls still needed you.
Yeah.
So you were pulling, 18 hours a day? Because unlike most employees who they have to prove themselves, but you had a lot more to carry. I mean, you were the head that wore the crown in that sense.
My girls were very young. I had to take up their work, get them to school when that was needed. But I also had to work. But I think it was well worth it when I look back. And when I even ask my girls, and they tell me that, this is what actually Mommy set up an example for us. And we wouldn't have had it any other way. It was difficult, but I think when is it easy when you want to learn and evolve? And I think evolutions are, difficult. But I think that's the only way I can have it ever, because I always believe that, if you got to learn, you got to really put in your hard work and, and your toil. So, yeah.
Did you study any of this that you actually practice? And when I ask you that is what I want to understand is, did you study design? Did you study textiles? Did you go away to college and study finance? Or was it just part of the course? Par for the course?
The interesting thing is I got married at the age of 18.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And when I took on Spaces is the time when I realized that I need to just ramp up and understand more and delve into, the kind of, an upskill myself, right? And I think upskill is something that you constantly have to do. And I took a giant leap and went to Harvard and did the OPM. And, and that's where I just took that leap. And I always believe that you constantly have to upskill. So like you're talking about today, when the world's talking about AI, we're talking about so many other things, aren't we? So I think constantly, as the world at the pace that the world is evolving, we also got to evolve. And I think that's what I continue to do as well today. You have to upskill yourselves. That could be a reason there that I was upskilling in some other things, but today I have to upskill in digitization, artificial intelligence, and something more,
And you still have the same fire you did 20 years ago? Are you still as excited?
Because if I didn't, I wouldn't work.
You'd put your shoes up, huh?
Yeah. Because if I'm not excited about what I do and I don't have the spring in my feet when I wake up in the morning, that means I'm done.
Wow. Let's start with what Dipali's day looks like. From the get-go in the morning to by the time you go to bed. And I want to know about what happens when you go home, right? I'm still guessing you still have these conversations and they're always work-related. More often than not, I'm guessing, with your husband. Your daughters, what does a boardroom look like from the minute you go to office?
No, I wake up at early in the morning at around 6 and I have my workout. And then before leaving for work, I just do my home chores and the other things that are needed for the day.
So you're still setting menus in the house?
I do that sometimes.
Okay.
I do that because I think that's the way it is, and I like doing that.
Yeah.
And then I'm at work around 9:30. And for me, I think it's important to check in with my factories and my businesses, on retail. And during the day, it's also about my global businesses like America, UK, or the other parts. So it is the constant, because morning till evening, there's a different scale of work that you're talking about. And of course, about, technology and upskilling of, of our team, our people, culture, because we're evolving very fast. And as we are growing, I think the important things that most conversations are about leadership as well, and culture. I think these are very, very interesting things that we are continuing to talk and discuss as well.
Do you have time to socialize outside work? Oh, that's a big pause.
I think I'm an introvert at that. I love, for me, I think it ends, when I go back home, it's getting my feet up, watching Netflix or something, and chilling, and because I get to bed early, because then
you're going to start early, right?
Start early, and because there's so much to do. Plus, I actually also go to my factories very often. So every 15 days, one factory or the other is something, or I'm traveling out of the country.
Many clients, yeah.
So it's a lot of things to do, and a lot to learn as well. Weekends, sometimes I do socialize.
Sometimes, okay. Do you micromanage or do you empower?
I love to create leaders, and I love to empower people on that bit. And I think it's about, because I always feel leaders create leaders. And I think that's what it is all about. I think my job is to inspire people, show them the vision, and then take that forward. And that's where you can really create not only leadership, but also create an organization that is very accountable.
Beyond you as well, right?
Yeah.
Do you work with family? I believe your daughter...
My younger daughter is working with me, and Vanshika is taking on Christy right now and leading it from the front. So she's working with me. And I've always felt, and that's what I have done, and I always feel, and I do it to all my leadership teams as well, that, you let them be. You give them a vision, let them see and find themselves what they feel is, relevant for the business. And then you continue to have kind of conversations about what we can do to evolve that business. So yes, Vanshika is working with me, and I feel for her, it's I think it's been an interesting learning as well, because she's also working, managing a home as well. Everything.
And she recently got married.
She recently got married.
Wow. Dipali, we usually talk about challenges of being a woman in a man's world, right? I want to turn this around a little bit. I want to spin it around and ask you, what worked for you being a lady at the helm? You, of course, think differently to begin with from other men, other board members, directors, and all of that put together. And what you bring to the table is also some part of it could be attributed to being a woman, right? We can't take that away. Is it EQ? Is it IQ? Is it a mix of both? Because I think the new world is all about EQ. And I think women do that well, and you do that great.
No, I think the important thing is about the consumer as well. And I think EQ comes in easy to women. Very, very true. And I think this world is all about leadership, development of people, teams, creativity. And I think that's what is something I think we can do it. And I think being a nurturer. I think women nurture, very, very well. And if you can do that is where you can create a world-class organization. And if you understand your consumer well, I think is what it is. So yes, I always believe it's not just about the machines or the spreadsheets. It's something more beyond that. Because I always also say that, culture eats strategy for breakfast, because it's all about the heart is at the culture. Heart is the people. And I think if you can do that well, you are successful for sure.
You talk about culture and you talked about inclusion very briefly. And I want you to talk a little bit more about that, because it's one thing being the leader of a pretty large conglomerate, right? It's the other, of course, one is doing interviews where you inspire people. What else happens at Welspun, or what has changed since you came on board to be a little more inclusive, to make work conducive for women to come back? Because I think the biggest problem with even successful, intelligent women is the career break. It's not always easy to come back, right? Has Welspun done anything to encourage that?
So today I can say, and the blue collar, we have around 30% women. And that's been something really inspiring. And we want to have at least 45% women as we go forward. And my key, thing, if I say, and when I hang my boots, I would say that, if I've done my work well, is where, it becomes an equal Welspun in all ways, diverse Welspun in all ways. So I think that's what is very, very important to me. So whether it's in the blue collar associates or working at the factory level or at the white collar or even the leadership, I think is where I really feel we can have more women. I'll share a small anecdote here. We did a program with one of the biggest retailers. It was called the Her Finance. And one of our girls, Avni Bhadra, was chosen out of so many factories around the world to represent, this program. She flew from Anjar to Arkansas. And it actually was so inspiring that there were so many Avni Bhadras, who were, born that time. And that's where, you had these 30% women now, at the helm of Welspun's, the whole factory floor. Even in the white collar, we have more women, but there's more work yet to be done there, I feel. Because I feel you might say that, urban, I think, is a little bit more difficult than rural. Yeah. And leadership, my CEO for retail is a lady. My CEO for Christie is a lady, and more leadership, is coming on there. And I think we are working on it. But I think the opportunity here is to have kind of a diverse, but a world that is equal. Give them an opportunity to have a flexi hour. Give them an opportunity to come when they want to. And because by the end of it, they will work. Coming to office doesn't mean that they will. You're working, right? So I think that's where if you can just be a little bit more flexible, I think it gets easier for them as well.
What about pay-scale parity? Do you think that needs a revisit? Because that's the other thing, right? When you don't show up at work in person, when you do flexi hours, you'll end up taking a little lesser money, if I may say.
I think by the end of it's about your work that gets accomplished. If that gets accomplished, your goals are set earlier, your KPIs are then. If you're targeting and you're accomplishing that, I think that's where we are good. I know that there are these kind of differences that exist, in the world. But I think at Welspun, we don't do that at all.
Well, we look at a lot of stuff from numbers, and I want to talk to you about the real economy. You mentioned construction, real estate is on an upswing. Yeah. And we've seen that in numbers, right? We've seen this quarter, the number of sales that are happening for the real estate sector. Does that mean business is booming for you right now? I know it's tough to predict. We talked about the lack of predictability, but a couple of quarters out, do you think growth is looking really solid and is only going to be better as we go into the next few?
So I can say that, we are cautiously optimistic here, and I feel I can continue to say that there are opportunities, and we feel very positive about the business that we're doing. And overarchingly, I think we are in a good spot in the way of as a company, as a country. So, yeah.
So business is looking good.
Cautiously optimistic.
Okay, good. Okay. Also, yeah, we've read about the fact that you want to be debt-free over the next 2 years. Are you on track to achieve that goal?
Yes, we are. And we are working towards that. So one aspect is that we are working towards getting debt-free. But however, the other opportunity is that if there's an interesting opportunity that comes in,
you're going to go
whether it's inorganic or anything else, we definitely are going to go for it.
So fair to say that you're still looking for inorganic buys?
Yes. And that could be an opportunity, yes.
And that would be obviously debt funded.
Yes, that would be. But definitely the focus and the prudence on ROCE is going to be maintained.
Okay.
So a ROCE of around 15 to 20% is something that we're going to work on. So yes, so that, because we want to take care of our stakeholders and the value that we bring on the table for them. So that's something that is definitely there. Debt-free is on the cards, and that's where we're working towards.
Growth will take precedence over becoming debt-free.
Yeah.
Also, while you talked about how domestic business is looking good, your export market has also has seen a big growth. I think 36% YOY in Q3. Is that growth sustainable? And that's not a small base.
Yeah, so I can say that, again, it's a huge opportunity for India right now. And I think India is becoming the center focus for everybody across the globe. See, China was the factory of the world, but I think the China plus one is definitely is working out. And I think for all of us in India, that is something that the world is looking at. So yes, we will see it pan out, but I can again definitely maintain that it's a huge opportunity, but cautiously optimistic.
Optimistic is still what you want to maintain. Yeah. Flooring is the vertical that is recent, more new. I mean, it still only contributes 9% to your top line. What sort of growth numbers are you working with there?
We are looking at around 2,400 crores by end of 2026.
Of the 15,000 crores top line that you would have.
Absolutely. And flooring is an opportunity where India is going to be at the centerfold of, kind of the supply. Because I think the markets in India, in the terms of hospitality, institutions, the residential segment that is opening up is very big. And of course, again, United States of America is an opportunity as well for us, where the DIY home retailers to the focused flooring retailers to other partners is something that we're looking at. GCC again is very interesting as well, because you see KSA opening up, Middle East in the terms of UAE and the others. I think so. It's kind of a mixed bag I see here, and flooring is going to be primarily India focused, but of course the opportunities in USA and globally also is big there.
So
too.
Conversations are happening, clients are onboarded, new clients are coming on board as well.
Sure, yeah.
Also, any other new verticals you're looking to launch? I know you've just got flooring to deal with, but in the next couple of years.
So now let me give you a perspective on what Welspun Living is all about, and I say that Welspun Living is actually home solutions. And it's not about a towel or a sheet. It's about it's like fashion bedding, utility bedding, ADR rugs, wall-to-wall carpets, flooring, even the face wipes, the face masks. In a nutshell, for a consumer, if it's me, I wake up in the morning. I'm touched by Welspun Living goods from morning till night. In some part of it, of the day, and that's what we are a part of. She wakes up, she wakes up in a bed that's a Welspun bed, puts her foot on the Welspun flooring, uses a face mask, has a shower, uses a Welspun towel. There's a kitchen towel in the kitchen. There's a kitchen flooring. There are cushions. There are rugs. Even we have a startup that you're working with for the domestic It's called the Drape Story. So Spaces Drape Story. So which does it's a D2C segment, and you can get your cushions and curtains done in a week's time, and they come to you. So yeah, we want to be an integral part of her life.
Yeah. And it's the best time to be, right? I mean, this is the growing India. How price sensitive is your business?
So I think it is. I think it's all about the wallet share. And we saw that 2 years back when the commodities just were crazy, right? And, consumer allocates a certain part of it to the goods that, and this is a discretionary. It is not the groceries, right, that you need every day. So they allocate that certain part of that share of the wallet. So definitely it is price sensitive as well. But it also depends upon where we are part of her life and when she wants to buy.
I like when you say when she wants to buy.
No, it is, and I think she's the decision maker.
Yeah.
And I think it is about again looking at where we can be a part of her. Buy, and when can we, be more often be in her process of, her, kind of a mind share. So I think that's where we are working on. So it's not just a towel that she's picking up. Now imagine you have a bundle with towel and a face wipe together. Or you have a spa kit, when she wants to just chill. So yeah, those are the thoughts you need to just apply to see that, we are in her decision making more often.
No, and the brand recall is commendable. I mean, I don't know a single person who doesn't know Welspun, right? You'd see a Welspun in every home. Let's just put it like that. One quick question. What keeps you awake at night? I know you have long days, so very few things would. But what do you worry about? What's concerning for you at this stage?
So there are two things that I think about, and I think our goals towards the 15,000 crores and how we are, looking at taking that forward and, really actually creating value for our stakeholders and our people and our teams. I think that's a very important thing. The second being that post-COVID, it's been such a dynamic world. And I think the commodities are a very big one here, which actually is something that keeps you little, not nervous, but how to really find a solution to really tackle that and look at it. But I think these are the things that really keep me. And of course, my people and my leadership teams, which I really want to continue to evolve. But however, having said that, these are exciting times. Exciting times for us, exciting times for our country, and a huge opportunity at that.
And you feel that, right? I mean, the real economy, you've got touch and feel with stores. So there is a sense that things are looking good for us. It's not just those numbers.
Yeah, it is definitely looking good for us.
Yeah. Just one last question. Tell us something about you that we don't know. We've talked about Welspun, we've talked about life. You did mention you're an introvert, so that doesn't count. Anything else that you want to tell us?
I love
how do you look this great is okay as well.
No, I'm into weight training. I love my strength training.
3 days a week?
No, 4 to 5 days.
And you lift heavy?
I lift very heavy squats, deadlifts, my and my upper body as well. And of course, I love my Kathak. I'm a trained classical dancer. So that's something that I really love doing in my free time as well.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you, Dipali. It was great talking to you today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.